Happy holidays, gamers from around the world. This is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to our almost New Year's episode of the world of gaming. And as you can see, we are already celebrating here. And I would like to welcome everyone who is watching us live here today. The chat is already filling up. I see a lot of people watch the Stalker trailer. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, I want to welcome my co-host and very good friend, Wandering Dutch. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. It's good to be back. I'm looking forward to getting back into it and talking video games. And thankfully, this week there's a lot of video game news to talk about. So it's
Indeed.
I'm looking forward to it. Yes, it's good. It's good. I haven't had the most time to play some games, but I have had the chance to play video games this last couple of days. So I've been doing a little bit of catch up on a lot of things, on Sonic and a few other games, and even
we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
So,
looking forward to it.
Yeah. That's good, man. I'm glad your health is recovering. I was worried about you last week a little, honestly. You went kind of dark.
Went dark, slept. Dark and slept.
That's good. That's the best medicine. So no, I'm glad you're feeling better, brother. But yeah, let me also welcome again everyone in the chat and everyone who listens after the fact. And that's the thing I forgot to press record for the guys that are listening after the fact. So apologies here for the audio only listeners. They can only listen as of right now, but they only missed the intro. So that's what happens when you take a break. Take a week break. Yeah, you forget kind of how everything works. So. Yeah. We have an awesome show, man. Like you said, I did not expect to actually have some proper video game news around Christmas and in between the years. But there's actually a couple of things to talk about. The new Stalker trailer just dropped, obviously, like literally 10 minutes ago. Then we have some Hellblade news. We have some Redfall news. We have some Switch Pro news. And today we are gonna do a preview, a big preview for 2023. We're gonna focus mainly on PlayStation, Nintendo, and the third-party titles because we're gonna do an Xbox preview special next week and we have an awesome guest for that with the famous Randall Thor. He's going to join us and we're going to talk about Xbox in 2023. We have a dedicated show for that next week. So can't wait for that. So today we are going to mainly focus on PlayStation. It's a little spoiler. That's a short list. Nintendo and of course all the third-party titles that will come out next year. But first, we're gonna have to talk about the games of the week. All right. Yeah, the jingles are not going anywhere. Let me briefly shout out Sith Lord, who sends in the first super chat because he's a channel member for 5 months. And he says, by the way, thank you. Thank you for supporting us this long. And he says, glad you are both better. Thanks for an awesome 2022. Now, I want to say a big thank you to you, and not just you, but to the entire community. Indeed, 2022 has been a fantastic year. And that's mainly because of the community, the conversations we have, the games we play, the discussions around gaming, and the controversy as well. It is just, to me, that's also part of the hobby gaming, honestly. Just talking to people about stuff. This amazing community is what drives us to do these shows every week, to do the videos and everything. So truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone here in the community for an amazing year. That being said, man, I cut you off earlier a little bit, but I want to know, of course, what kind of games have you been playing? And I also want to know that from everyone in the chat. Let us know what you guys are playing.
Yeah, so obviously the first week of my break from work was spent ill in bed, so I didn't get any gaming in then, like literally not a thing. But I got a couple of games over Christmas, thanks to my brother of all people getting us a voucher for Xbox. So I went into the sales and got a couple of games. Sonic Frontiers, Godfall,
Oh, nice.
of all games. And Ollie Ollie World.
So how is Sonic?
Actually, it's quite good. It's more reminiscent of like a Mario Odyssey version of Sonic than anything else. It's a big open world adventure game, as opposed to kind of it still has. You've got these cyberspace levels that are more like traditional Sonic, where he's like running fast and he's got to jump over and jump onto the different things. And but then the general world is entirely different. It's just a big open world to explore and big boss fights to have, and you power ups and different attacks and things like that. So it's definitely different. It's much bigger than I thought it would be, and it's not as easy as I thought it would be either.
Okay.
I would say the bosses are probably going to a lot of kids are going to get frustrated trying to beat some of these bosses. But yeah, it's good. It's good, actually. It's much better than I thought it would be. And again, I got it on sale for like 37 or something like that. So
that's a good price, man.
A good price. Yeah, I wasn't gonna. There was no way I was buying Sonic for 60 or 70. Not a chance. But
don't let Vin hear that. Yeah, I know he's super passionate about the game. But then he also likes pineapple on pizza, so who knows about his taste?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, second one was Godfall, and it's okay. It's okay. It's
have you played the Xbox version that starts like after the actual main game, or have you played the PlayStation version from the beginning?
No, it's from the beginning, the Godfall Ultimate Edition. So I got that for like 15 on sale. So for 15, I wasn't going to complain, and I thought, you know what it is? It's one of them games where a lot of people have either complained about it or said it was terrible. But it's probably going to be one of those games that are kind of middle of the road, and it's not like amazing, but it's not horrific. It's kind of just an okay game.
Okay.
And so far, it just suffers from some of the tropes of, should we say, kind of very simplistic combat. Very easy to use.
Is it button smashing or?
It kind of. It's just like you've got heavy attack, you've got light attack, and then you've got some power attacks. But the power attacks are just linked to the same buttons as heavy and light. So it's pretty easy. The level up system's pretty easy. And then the armor kind of says you can get different suits and things that actually look different. I don't think it makes any differences to power the capabilities. But it's okay. It looks decent enough. But it's an okay game, and it's certainly not a game that you'd pay full price for. And I think the 15 to 17 range that it's on sale for now is probably good, and that's the Ultimate Edition, so it comes with everything that the game has to offer. So someone wants a nice, easy game to get into that looks pretty, I would say Godfall's pretty decent.
Okay.
And the last game I've been playing lots of, I've got actually ignore that because I have been playing High on Life as well, and I'm about halfway through that now. So I'm looking forward to finishing High on Life. But that's a really cool game. That's good fun all the way through. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. Ollie Ollie World as well is the last game that I've been playing a lot of, and that is an indie game. It's actually much more difficult than it looks. That's like a
2D side-scrolling skateboard thing game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more difficult than it looks. Yeah.
I can imagine.
I don't know whether or not it's something to do with the button responsiveness or something like that. And I play wired, like play with my controllers wired as well, so I should have zero Ken DeLeon response, or whether or not I'm just terrible. One of the two, but I'm not the best at that game, but it's still good fun. It's got cool music. It's nice, a cool style to it. And again, it was on sale for like 13, 14. So
okay,
picked it up nice and cheap. So yeah,
sweet.
Lots of games, and there's a lot of games on my list that I'm going to try and fit into the next few days.
Yeah.
What about you, though? What about you?
I will get to me in a second. I need to briefly shout out Drawn TJ, who sent in a couple of super chats. The first of $2. Thank you so much. He says, "Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, brother, what's up?" And he follows up with another $5 super chat, and he says, "Hey Boxenberger, we need to play Age of Empires next month." Yes, H2 is coming to consoles next month. I think January 24th or 25th or something. Yeah. So absolutely, TJ, we're gonna play that. I wonder how it will work on controllers, though. I truly do. Because Dutch, of course, I've been playing H4 again. Like, I thought I'm gonna train, I'm gonna practice a couple of new build orders, and I was successful, and I was again like this close to finally hitting the platinum rank. And then I lost like 7-8 matches in a row and dropped down to almost gold 2 again. I don't know. Yep. I think after 450 hours, I just have to admit I'm not a platinum ranked player. I'm a gold 3 guy. It's ups and downs, and but I'm still having a blast with it, and I'm not giving up yet. To finally reach at some point the platinum rank. Yeah, it's like I'm practicing, I'm trying new strategies, I'm doing everything that like the pros that do the tutorials on YouTube tell you to do, but I realize I'm just not fast enough. I don't know, maybe I'm too old. I don't know, but like if you watch like players that play in platinum or higher ranks, honestly, I don't know how they do it. I seriously don't know how they do all these things at the same time. That's my problem. I know exactly always what I should do in a certain situation, but I need too long to do this stuff. So yeah, that's my age addiction. And yeah, other than that, I've been playing a lot of this game here. The Witcher 3, of course. I think I'm like 35 hours now into the game. I just arrived at the Skellige Islands. And man, that upgrade is fantastic. It is so good. It looks beautiful. It runs beautiful. I know a lot of people complain about like the apparent frame rate drops that Digital Foundry highlighted. Honestly, but I'm playing, of course, on a VRR screen. But on a VRR screen, it's simply not possible to recognize them. It runs butter smooth. It looks fantastic. Even in performance mode, you can really tell the upgrades. Like the texture quality has improved. Like the level of detail and everything. It is fantastic, and I'm hooked again. I'm not just doing that again, another playthrough. Like it's every time I play that game, I tell myself, now you're just gonna play the main story and you're gonna focus on the main quest. But then I see that
playing everything.
That map, and I'm start cleaning off the question marks. I'm gonna clean off every side quest, even though I'm not gaining any XP from them. I'm just doing them because they are so good. It's just an amazing game. It is.
I did start it again myself, actually, but I have that many games that I need to finish off first. That I've started it, but I haven't got far enough where I'm going to forget everything again. So at least I've got past the first part, when the tiny little tutorial section. I'm back in the start village, outside of the castle. Got all that stuff done.
Okay.
So I can actually start the game when I get into it now, and I don't have to worry about the rest.
Sweet. I highly recommend, by the way, if you do. Did you clean off the map in that intro tutorial section?
Yes.
You did clean it off. Okay, because a lot of people don't do that in the beginning section, and you can literally do that in like 15 to 20 minutes, and you will find like 5 or 6 character points on that map, and you will never ever gain 6 character points that easy in the game going forward. So I definitely recommend everyone to do that. Let me briefly shout out Tron TJ. He says, it will play fine, just like Command & Conquer and Civilization 6. That's on Xbox. So he's referring to H4, or H2, and hopefully H4, of course, a little later the next year. I think so too. I've seen like how they mapped the controller in some of the videos, and it kind of looks fine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then he sends in another super chat of $2. Thank you so much for the support, Ron TJ. And he says, I hope everyone had a good holiday. I hope so too. I hope everyone had an amazing time with their families and their loved ones, and got some time to chill. So let's see what people have been playing here in the chat. So I need to scroll up a little higher here. A Masshole just finished High on Life. Yeah, man, I was halfway through that game. I really enjoyed it. And then I started playing The Witcher again. And now I'm just hooked. But I'm going to finish it after my Witcher playthrough. Absolutely. Siki is also playing Witcher 3 and Overwatch 2. Yeah, I know you're addicted to that, man. Andrew, pardon me. Andrew Colinane says hooked on Valheim. That's cool. And Paul is playing High on Life, and Miles Morales and Cyberpunk. Yeah, man, I've seen you posting pictures of Miles. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, as always, our community has a fantastic taste. I see True Iron Leg. He's playing Farming Simulator. Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet, man. I love it when people don't play the standard games like that everyone's playing. I feel like I always play like the stuff everyone else is playing, maybe except H4.
I'm exactly the same.
So shout out to you, man, for playing simply something different. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, Dutch. I think it's time for us to move over to the news of the week. All right. Man, there's a lot of stuff still happening, even though everyone should be at home and celebrating the holidays. We will get into Hellblade, Redfall, and the Switch Pro, and a couple of other things. But first, Dutch, I was thinking, we did it in the Black Friday week, and people really enjoyed it when we just tried to highlight some of the deals. And there are a lot of deals going on. There's the Steam sale going on at the moment. There's the PlayStation sale going on at the moment. And of course, the big Xbox sale. And for the most part, the games that are in the sales are more or less the same. So I'm going to throw up here. Hang on one second. There we go. The Xbox sale. Simply being mostly an Xbox guy, but almost all of these sales you can also find on the PlayStation Store or the Steam sale. So if you just want to get them somewhere else, I definitely recommend to do that. So let's briefly go over a couple of the highlights here. We have Elden Rings as the Spotlight sale. 49 euros. I don't know what it's in the UK. In the US, it should be the same because they're typically the same price.
I think I've seen it for like £43 or something like that. So a smidge cheaper, maybe, depending on that. But then again, the pound's really weak, so it's probably about the same.
Probably. So definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And people in chat, if you have a recommendation or already got something for yourself, let us know in the chat. We want to know what you got on the sales, what people should try to check out. Because this is just us here babbling about the deals, but you guys have also some opinions on that, so definitely recommend it. Modern Warfare 2, the cross-gen bundle is on sale, only like 15%, but definitely if you want to play it. Now see here, this Saints Row is the one I'm thinking of. It's down to 35. I'm not 100% sure. It got mixed receptions. There were some people still enjoying it. Others said, nah, that's not it. So 35, you think that's worth it?
What was that for? For
Saints Row.
See, I still don't think.
Here we go. Yeah.
I still don't think it is. I still don't think it is. It isn't. It could be a lot of good. It could be a lot of fun, but when you look at some of it, and this is the problem as well, when you look at some of the stuff you can get on sale right now for the price, there's a lot better games out there that are worth your time.
That's the thing. We have to think about this. We're gonna talk about 23 a little later in the show, dude. But
yeah,
I only have like 3 weeks left before the madness of 23 starts.
Exactly.
So I have to, or we all have to budget our time. Think exactly about what kind of backlog games you want to play, and then 23 is gonna hit us hard. It's gonna hit us hard. So, I'm still torn though. I've played all the Saints Rows, so not sure. Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, Game Pass. It's in Game Pass, so. Cyberpunk for $35. Dude, I don't think that's a particularly good deal. Honestly.
No, neither do I, considering, especially when they were going through the issues at the beginning of the year. It was on sale for like less than 10.
Yes, exactly. But now that everyone is enjoying it and playing it again, it's, by the way, still played on Steam. Like, it's regularly in the top 10 on Steam. Most played games. That's insane. So, yeah, it's back to 35. I think if you haven't played it, it's still worth 35 because it's an awesome game, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's the best deal here. Highly recommend Dying Light 2. What do you say?
Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. $35, worth every penny. Fantastic game. So
there was two more that I picked up on as well, that because when I was getting Sonic, that was one of 3 of the ones that were on sale that I was really debating. And there was 2 other awesome ones, and one of them's the deluxe edition of Gotham Knights, which is 50% off.
That's here,
and that's on sale for
47 euros or US dollars. Absolutely worth it, and that's like you said, the super duper deluxe bundle with everything.
Yeah.
Packed 50%
off, so reduced from 80 down to 40 here. And Tiny
or 95 euros. Yes. I always have to translate for everyone else here.
And then there was, alongside that, obviously, I got Sonic for the deluxe edition of Sonic, so I didn't just get the regular one, I got the one up again, and that was 37. And then there was also Tiny Tina's Wonderland Chaotic Great Edition.
That's right here next to it. Absolutely worth it. Exactly.
And that's 40 as well.
Yeah, 45 for everyone else outside of the UK. But true. Highly rate both. Great shouts, dude. You know what I got? I bought myself here Destiny, the Witch Queen.
Oh, you're muted again.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to mute myself for just a second because I had to cough. It's not going anywhere, the cough. I don't know. So, but anyway, I got the Witch Queen, not the deluxe edition, but the regular base edition for $20. And I'm a little afraid to start it because it's got such a time sink. but I have it now, and I want to play it actually. And here's one I'm still on the fence. The Quarry is down to $24, dude.
No, I'm in your boat. I'm like, do I?
I think it's a great price, and I hear good things, but honestly, it's just a time issue now. So when am I supposed to play that? And there's just too much coming in 3 weeks. So starting in 3 weeks. So I had it in my shopping cart. I'm probably still gonna buy it, and then it's in the backlog. And you know my thoughts about the backlog. So
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. That's just a fact, dude. It's just a fact. What else?
Oh, there's lots. There's
lots of stuff in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just gonna scroll down here a little bit. Resident Evil Village for $20.
Yep.
Definitely.
To be fair, actually, if you have a look at the very end of that same row that you had for the Quarry, which was $21.44, you've got the
Quarry?
Entire dock. So
the Battlefield thing.
Oh, not just that. The entire Dark Pictures anthology.
Yes, season 1 here.
For 60. It doesn't sound like much, but that's 4 games. That's 4 full games. You got Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, and Devil in Me. So it's the 4 main ones, and then of course the Quarry was a separate title entirely by a different set of people. It's the same style game, choice based. People get murdered. Your choice is murder people or don't.
Or don't. Yeah, it's
the same style, and each one of them has like a big actor in it. There's like the focal point. So they're quite good games, and 60 for the full bundle if you haven't already played any of them, and you like those kind of games. That's quite a good price.
Yeah, true that. So people in chat actually say the Quarry is worth it. Mr. Joanna Dark and Sentinel and a couple of others are recommending it, and they say it's not too long. So yeah, that's exactly the thing. I for 25, I just might get it, and then it's sitting there, and I'm gonna spend another 100 hours in The Witcher. I know myself.
Yep.
I know myself. So what else do we have here?
We have to shout out the Arkham Collection for £12.49.
Yes. Absolutely.
£12.
So where is it?
What's that, like €15 or something like that? It's like
something like that. Yeah.
All the Arkham games and all of the DLC for those Arkham games.
Let me see. Arkham. It should be around the A, but I can't see it.
Under B for Batman.
Right.
So it's right next to it. It's got Back 4 Blood, Balan Wonderland. Woohoo! Bassmaster
there we go.
edition.
$15. Yeah, $15. The Arkham Collection.
15.
Absolutely
all of the
worth
games
it.
And all of the DLC.
And that's the remasters from last gen. So it's that's definitely worth it. Absolutely. Now,
I had saved a couple of games, actually. I'm going to go into them here because I've got some lists of some collections that people need. So if people aren't following me on Twitter, you won't have seen it.
I want to shout out
Saga bundle.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. The
bundle.
Metro.
So that's, Metro 23 Redux, Metro Last Light Redux, and Metro Exodus Gold Edition.
Oh yeah,
for £10.
It's like ridiculous.
€12. It's insane.
It's ridiculous, and they are so good. All 3 very, very good games, and they hold up quite well.
Oh god, yeah, too right. Then the BioShock collection is on sale for $7.99. That's like £8 or €10.
I have never played BioShock. I have the collection. I own it.
Of all people that I would think would love the BioShock games, it would be you.
I know. I hear that so often, and I don't know. The collection is just sitting there, and it's installed on my Xbox because I leave it there as a reminder that I do not forget. But every time I'm going to my games. I'd
The
rather
Witcher
boot
again.
up. I'd rather boot up The Witcher or something else. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Another collection to add to that collection is the Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor trilogy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's all of the new trilogy games.
Hang
So
on, where's
Tomb Raider,
that?
Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider for $17.99. So that's 60% off. For all three of those games, of course, both are all high quality games, especially Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the last of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Fantastic games. If people are aching for that Uncharted feel on an Xbox, if you've got the Xbox, you're not going to get any better than Tomb Raider. So honestly, download it. It's a great game. Really pretty looking game. Awesome quality. Really good in terms of performance, in terms of the gameplay.
Absolutely.
Such a good collection.
It is.
The last one of the bunch, of course, everyone will be able to play these games anyway if you've got Game Pass. But if you don't have Game Pass and you like owning your games, then you've got the Wolfenstein Alt History Collection. And that is $11.99 for New Order, Old Blood, New Colossus, and Young Blood. So 4 games there for £12. So that'll be like €15 or $15. And that's 80% off.
It's steal.
It's a steal.
It's absolutely a steal.
I've also a little shout out for those. I was going to say, for those who really love Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah.
You've got the Crash, Spyro, and Crash Team Racing triple bundle.
Where is it? Where is it?
34.
Yeah, it is.
85 to 34. It's an awesome bundle. Of course, you've got the Insane trilogy, you've got the Spyro trilogy, and you've got Crash Team Racing. So you've got 7 games for £34. That's a bargain, and they are really high quality remasters of those games.
As you can see, they are also available in like all combinations. So there's a bundle with
just Spyro and Crash. You can get
exactly.
Crash.
Yeah, Crash and the Racer, Crash Racer, Nitro, and like every combination here, as you can see. So that's definitely worth it. I want to shout out briefly Anthem, dude. Anthem, you can get it for $3. And
that's the ultimate version, isn't it?
Yeah, with everything in it. So where did I see that? It was here, like Anthem, $3.50, and 100% worth it, because even if you're not gonna play like anything of the end game, you're still getting a pretty good campaign, actually. The story isn't the best, okay, I get it, but it's that the mechanics are really fun, so absolutely worth it. Then we have a couple of Assassin's Creed bundles. So if you're interested in any of the Assassin's Creed bundles, good steals in here. The Witcher, I don't think it is a good deal. It's down to $30, dude. And that's a lot.
That's weird. Yeah.
Because like in the last sale, I feel like you were able to get it for like 10.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, but I think it's the hype around the next gen patch. So, yeah. Let me shout out briefly Fanto Sir in chat for the super chat. Thank you so much, man. He sends in the super chat for being a channel member for 5 months. Super appreciate the support. And he says, gamers, I hope you all are having a fabulous holiday. Absolutely, nice. Man. I do hope so too. Hope everyone enjoys the days and has good fun with the family and friends and just taking some time off. Absolutely, shout out to you, brother. And shout out to the community.
Yeah.
So what else do we have? We have a couple of Call of Duty deals. I was thinking about getting Vanguard just for the campaign. But then, yeah, you know, Game Pass, maybe soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
maybe
soon.
You've also got Diablo 2 Resurrected Prime Evil Collection for $16.49.
That's a good one. That's really a good one.
Super cheap. And that's the big boy edition as well. That's got everything.
That's good. And it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So, anything we forgot, guys? I don't want to drag this out too long. I think we mentioned Dying Light 2, which is in there in all editions. Far Cry is also, by the way, very reduced. That anything we forgot? I think we
Nothing
covered
that
it.
really stands out. I was doing the same as you. I was looking more at the bundles to see what bundles or collections you could get on there that were awesome and not specifically just like mainline games. Far Cry 6 Gold Edition, and all of its glory is £28. That's 67 off. So that's cheap. That's super
absolutely
cheap.
That's a cheap one. Yeah, definitely.
You can also get the anthology. So Far Cry 3, 4, 5, and 6 for $44.99, which is also really cheap.
It's also absolutely. You already mentioned Tomb Raider. So I think we covered it for the most part. So good stuff there. There are a couple of good deals in there. But let's just go back to the gameplay we're watching, and that's of course The Witcher. And discuss it. Let's discuss some news. Because there have been a couple of really cool news. But first, I need to catch up on the super chats. Tim the Sorcerer sends in €2 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. And he says, again, long do, happy gaming in 23. Absolutely, man. Happy gaming to you. And thank you for the super chat. Happy gaming to everyone in 23, because 23 is going to be awesome. We will talk about 23. But first, I want to talk with you a little bit about Hellblade 2. I've seen something exciting, honestly, and that is a tweet from Ninja Theory. And they said the development diaries are gonna be back in 23. Stay tuned. Get excited. It's the blah, blah, blah. You know? So, in 23, we're gonna get more Hellblade 2 dev diaries, and they have been really good. They have the ones they have released, they have given us great insight in like the combat system. We learned how they all trained the animators and Melina and everyone, and how they hired the Star Wars choreographer and such things. So that was really cool. We also learned a couple of other things, of course, in the dev diaries, and so Dutch. I've seen a lot of people online saying, if they are gonna bring back the insights and the knowledge, is Hellblade closer than we think? And is it actually gonna be a 23 title?
Yeah, I still think it is. I still think they'll sneak it in. I think the mocap is one of the biggest chunks of that game. Once you've got that done, pretty much the rest of it, then it's pretty streamlined. They finished the mocap now, which means all the combat is done. The character animations are pretty much seamlessly done now because they've got everything already in-house. They've already got it inside and in the system and ready to rock and roll. So whenever they want to kind of put a character in there or get a kind of set pieces done, or even get to a certain, if you have a look at some of the cutscenes where they've got people kind of running away from screen or anything like that might have mocap involved in it, it's already done, which means so all the cutscenes that you'll see, they're already done in terms of the mocap for them. In terms of the combat choreography is done. That would be mocapped as well. So the main chunk that would take up kind of any kind of space in the background that might hinder development is finished now. And the rest of it, I would say, is you're talking kind of polishing and things. I'm still thinking this could lean. It's going to be a toss-up, I think, between Hellblade and Starfield being holiday 2023. I don't know which one. I still don't know which one. I'm constantly seesawing in between which one's going to be the holiday release.
You think whether or not Starfield is delayed to holiday next year?
I don't specifically think delay. I just think which one would they view being the biggest holiday title? That's the way I'm thinking of it. It's not so much delay. It's like, which one's going to have the biggest splash around holiday? Would it be Hellblade 2 or would it be Starfield? And if you're thinking of it from a logistical point of view, the biggest holiday title is definitely Starfield, and you put Hellblade in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But if you're putting it from, okay, well, we don't want to have the team at Ninja Theory to get this game out by June/July, then we have that as the holiday title, and we stick to Starfield and like releasing just at E3. So say, okay, Starfield is available tomorrow or something like that. But I don't think they'll do that for Starfield because I think there's going to be pre-orders. I think there's going to be special editions. They might do a special Xbox Series X to go along with it. And I do think there's going to be a special Xbox to go with Starfield because it is the first game they've released in 25 years.
See, they could still do that for the holidays because Starfield is that game that has long enough legs. People are still gonna play that in a year or two, and maybe even in 5 years. So
I just think when they release, I don't think like a lot of people think they're just going to say, okay, Starfield's available next week. I don't think they're going to do that for Starfield. I think they're going to give enough time for an actual release window to be able to generate a little bit of pre-order hype, get that limited edition version going. Okay, here's announcing the pre-orders available for the Starfield Series X. I think they're going to do something like that. And it would be very odd, I think, if they didn't capitalize on the fact that this is Bethesda's first new game in over 2 decades. Like,
I agree, but I think
no sense for them to not make a console for it, like they did it with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I fully agree. They could still do it when they release it in June. Maybe they cannot shadow drop it because of those kind of things, but they could still release it around E3.
Oh, absolutely. I think if they give it enough,
along with the console
time,
yeah.
So like at E3, because E3 is usually the kind of the beginning-ish, kind of middle-ish section. They could say, okay, releasing June 30th, and this if you're talking about if it's like the middle of June when you're doing the conference or beginning, which I think it was like June 8th or something last year.
Yeah, around that time, yeah.
Then you've got like 3 weeks. That's enough time. That's enough time for it's launching on June 30th.
Absolutely.
Limited edition consoles available for pre-order today. And we'll see you then. I think yes, 3 weeks will be enough. But I just don't think they'll pass up the opportunity for the first time in 2 decades for that.
I agree. I think they will make this a big deal. Honestly, if you think about it, which game that we at least know of that they have in the making has the same, like impact than a Starfield. It is an Avowed. I'm super excited for Avowed. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it has the same. I don't know a better word for it. I also Fable kind of... maybe, but then like Starfield, simply because it's from the makers of Skyrim, and everyone knows Skyrim, and Fable is a beloved Xbox IP, but the Xbox gamers that are new to the ecosystem for the last 15 years have never played a Fable. So I'm not sure. It will have like a super huge impact. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying those games at all. I'm just saying, I think Starfield is probably the biggest that they have in the pipeline, and so outside, of course, the next Elder Scrolls itself. And it would be stupid.
I think you're right in saying as well that I think Hellblade is probably the biggest aside from that they've got, and the reason I say that is I think it's Xbox's first big opportunity to have their God of War, their story, their action story, combat, kind of linear, should we say, game. I don't think it's going to be fully open world. I think it's going to be kind of a semi-open world experience, a bit like a God of War, where you'll have kind of side quests and things to do, and I think they'll really enlarge that world a bit. But I think that's their big opportunity to grasp a new audience with Hellblade: Senua's Saga.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hellblade is super important because it is like this, technical showpiece. That's not gonna be Starfield. Starfield is gonna look nice and it's gonna be a beautiful game, but it's not gonna move the needle in terms of like technical accomplishment. But Hellblade is gonna be that game. That's gonna be that game where you show like a trailer and everything. Everyone says like, that's a game. That's how a video game looks these days. That's Hellblade. So that's why Hellblade is so important. I also have the feeling that Fable is gonna be it's probably gonna be a colorful, like Lord of the Ring-esque,
vibrant.
Yes, like with like Lord of the Rings aesthetics and everything, and that's also important to have in your catalog for people to, oh, I can play like a Lord of Rings kind of game. Yeah. It looks super nice, obviously from Playground. But yeah, in terms of public reception, I think Starfield's gonna be the biggest that they have in the next couple of years, and so it would be stupid to not really capitalize on it in terms of like controllers, console editions, like everything. But then it's Xbox marketing,
Yeah, they'll probably just ignore it.
Mr. Joyner Dark sends in a super chat. Thank you, man, so much for the support. Super appreciated. He says, "Hello, gentlemen. Do you think Xbox Game Pass eliminates that old school release schedule, since it's about the engagement versus sales, so games can launch at any time?" That's an interesting question. What do you think?
I don't think so. No, I understand where he's coming from, but I don't think so, because as of right now, there is still 25% of the market is still physical. It's not, obviously it's way below what it used to be, but it's still 25% of the market. It's still a large chunk of the market is physical, so they're definitely still going to do a physical release. And there's people, and
the other 75% are not subscription services. There's also the digital sales in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they still have that, and people still, even to this day, the occasional game. I love knowing that the game's out at like midnight, and you're like, right, okay, right, game's out at midnight, staying up. And then the game launches.
And then setting my console to New Zealand and
yeah. Give yourself like a little 5-minute window, and then you're like, right, let's launch the game up. Then here we go. And you've got that stuff. So no, I think release dates are still kind of paramount to generating hype.
Yeah.
If anything else, I think having a release window, having the release date is good for hype generation. Maybe it's not so much for the studio, and even maybe for the studio themselves. They'll say, "Oh, well, technically this game's been ready to boot up for weeks now." But for the purpose of hype, we've had this release date as this date. So I think in the future it might be a bit different internally, where they say, "Okay, well, we know your game's ready. It's there, right? We'll release at this date." So the studio knows it's fine. There isn't any issues there. It's just a case of, okay, now we can generate hype for the next couple of weeks.
See, I'm not 100% sure if I agree fully. The thing is, I get where Joanna Dark is coming from. But I don't think it has to do with Xbox Game Pass. I think the video game industry as a whole is now big enough. It is a big enough entertainment industry. It's the biggest entertainment industry in the world in terms of revenue, at least. Yeah, I think the video games are big enough so that you, in principle, can release a game throughout the entire year. It used to be, when the industry was smaller, it used to be like you had to release your games in the holiday windows. Yeah, so September, October, November. That's the 3 months, and nothing else came out the entire year. We know that that's not necessary anymore, but I don't think it has to do with Game Pass. I still feel like it depends on the game. When you have like a game that appeals to the more casual gamer, it's probably not good to release it right in front before the summer break. But if you have like a game that appeals to hardcore gamers, like I don't know, a Hellblade would be a game I could see a Hellblade launch in June, and it would just do fine, because I don't think a Hellblade is that typical game that the casuals are gonna play. It's more for like the core gaming community. It might draw in some people, but you know, the initial launch reception is more for like those people. So you can launch that obviously like in June or July or something, yeah. But would you launch a Fortnite in June, and then everyone's going off to the holidays and vacation? I don't think so. So I don't think it has to do with Game Pass, but I think you can definitely launch games these days throughout the year. But it depends, of course, on what kind of game we're talking about.
Yeah, I agree. It's specifically, yes, I would say things like indie games and things that don't really need a big giant release window. And to be fair, they don't need. Yeah, indie games can definitely just drop. You can just drop them willy-nilly just whenever you like. But big spectacles and big showcases. And this is one thing that frustrated us about Sony this year, because even their big spectacle, the God of War, they didn't really do much. They just kind of just went, yeah, it's releasing then. See you later. And that's what wound me up about it. It's like, it's your biggest release this year. Like, put some oomph into it. You always put your effort in and give it a spotlight and show it off properly. And they didn't this year, which is one of the things that wound me up about them. But
they still had a big marketing budget behind it. I was seeing commercials on TV, in the movie theater, online, even on buses. I've seen God of War advertisement. They just left out the showcase, or what's it called, state of play. A dedicated state of play, which is then again just for basically the hardcore gamers.
It was that though, in the way that they went about actually confirming the release date, which was just a blog post.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Which wound me up. And I think you need, behind your biggest staple franchises, God of War is one of Sony's staple franchises, and I would say the same about Fable, Forza, Gears, Halo, Hellblade, Starfield. Behind these big staple IPs, you need an actual oomph behind them, like a good unveiling for the release date and things. You need it.
You need to own the headlines. You need to own the social channels. Absolutely.
I think you do, and it's only so much you can. And I've lost track of the amount of times that we've had to really shout the case for some awesome games that have come out because no one's heard about them, because there hasn't been any hype around them, and there's been no marketing or no real marketing push, and we've been like, no, you need to play this. Like, you need to play this game, and then people have played it and they've been like, this is an awesome game. Like, why didn't we hear about this so? And this is because some of these teams aren't doing these things, and they need to be.
Indeed.
So absolutely big staple franchises and IPs that both companies have definitely need that release date and that kind of set oomph around them. But indies, absolutely just say, releasing tomorrow. Doo-doo.
There it is. And it's gonna market itself because everyone's tweeting about it. I agree. We got a little off rail here. So, as we always do. Thanks, Joanna Dark. I don't even know how to bring this ship back, so I'm just going to move to the next topic I have here on my list I wanted to talk to you about. That's Redfall. There is a rumor. So obviously, like every rumor, take it with a grain of salt. But it has been reported that Redfall apparently got an internal delay, and that pushes the game to early May. So it's kind of hard to call it a delay or something for a game that didn't receive a a proper release date. But apparently, it was supposed to come out in March, and it's now moved to early May. And of course, Xbox has been promoting all these games, like I think it's 15 games or so, that are supposed to come out like in the first half of 23. And that's actually like literally the first 5 months, because if we take them on their word, they said in the last showcase, which was first week of June, the next 12 months. So by the next E3 showcase, which is in the first week of June, everything should have come out. So when Redfall is now a May game, that's basically putting Redfall at the very end of that window. What do you think? Are the others really getting delayed? Is Redfall the last one to come out? Because in my mind, it was always like, that's going to be the first one to come out.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say really, but I think personally that Redfall will probably be. I think the Redfall will be the middle one.
So which is the first?
I think Forza still going to be the first one. Yeah. Redfall in the middle. Redfall in the middle, like April, May, and then you've got Starfield June, July. But I think Forza is going to be the first one. That'll be maybe February, March, probably March earliest, and then you've got April, May, and then May, June, or June, July. Sorry. But I don't know. I think the reason I say we'll probably end up with nothing in January, February is primarily because it's absolutely ram-stacked full of everything. Like everything you can think of is still coming out in February and January.
That's true. Absolutely. We have the list right in front of us. We were going to talk about it in a second, about all the games that come out. Absolutely. But that would leave like March, April, May for, if we assume nothing is getting delayed in the second half. Yeah. But, so I had a thinking. I don't know. I've seen a tweet. And that tweet put an idea in my head. When Todd Howard announced the 11/11/2020 release date, I thoroughly believe that he was of the firm belief he will be able to reach that target, because once he has set a date, he usually doesn't delay. And they were like so confident. Listen, that's our big holiday 2022 title, Starfield, blah blah blah. There's the date, like a year in advance. Even more than a year in advance. So I think they were of the firm belief they can meet that. So why didn't they meet it? Obviously bugs. Yeah. They have to polish out the bugs. But how long do they need for that? Is it like another year? If we move it to holiday 2023? I don't know. If it's really just bug fixing, a couple of months could do wonders. So what if that's gonna be the first one? I know it's a crazy idea, but because everyone assumed Redfall is gonna be the first one, because whenever we've seen the game, it looked really good and polished and everything. But what if Starfield is like the first big one? And that's the reason why we have that rumor for that showcase. Because they want to put the oomph behind this and then show off Starfield like end of January at a dedicated Xbox showcase, and bam, there it is in March. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. But I'm hyping things up again. I tried to do that not that often anymore, because Paul in the chat has sent a super chat, and that fits it perfectly here. He says, first of all, thank you, man, for the support. He's a channel member for 18 months now, and that's why he sends in a super chat. Says, Evening Brothers Klobrille does a better job at marketing than Aaron Greenberg. that was related to our discussion about the Xbox marketing, and he's got a point. It's not just Globrille, it's also other like people on social channels that kind of hype Xbox more than their actual marketing department. And of course, sometimes that's where our disappointment comes from, because we hype ourselves up, and then Xbox is not going to deliver the stuff we hyped ourselves up for. But then again, we are fans of gaming and the brand and the ecosystem, and we want to get ourselves excited for Xbox and everything they offer. So yeah, it's kind of sad to see how the marketing department behaves with Xbox. Shout out to you, Paul. Shout out to you. So yeah, Redfall, maybe an internal delay. See, and you say always Forza. You're so confident that Forza is gonna hit. But what about the statement of what's his name? The studio head of Turn 10, then something. He said a couple of months ago.
Yep.
He said a couple of months ago that Forza is still in like the regular development phase, and they will start the polishing phase early 23. So no way that game is gonna come out early 23.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, dude.
I have.
You are. I wish I could believe you.
I'm pretty sure. No, it's going to be like March, April for Forza. Definitely.
We shall see, man. We shall see. All right. Dude, let's move away for a second from Xbox. I want to talk about Nintendo with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, actually, I wanted to put up a poll in the chat. So I'm going to put up a poll in a second when I hand the mic to you. But I want to know how many people actually have a Switch here from our community. So hands up. I know we do. The Switch is now out for almost 6 years. In 23, it's going to be 6 years. And
you wouldn't think it, would you?
God, it's crazy. So and the Switch is for like 2 years or so. We have had the rumor, well, we are gonna get a Switch Pro, because obviously last gen Xbox did it, PlayStation did it, the mid-gen refresh console with a little bit more power. And this week, and we've heard multiple rumors from insiders and everything. And this week, John Lindemann from Digital Foundry actually put out a statement that he's heard that the Switch Pro was internally cancelled by Nintendo. He had to say the following. I want to read his quote. I think at one point internally, from what I can understand from talking to different developers, is that there was some sort of mid-generation Switch update planned at one point, and that seems to be no longer happening. And thus, it's pretty clear that whatever they do next is going to be the actual next generation hardware. So, basically, if John is right, we are not getting a Switch Pro, but we are gonna get a new Switch, the successor to the Switch. So, does this make sense to you? Would you rather have a Switch Pro, or when do you think we get a Switch successor?
Yeah, it does make sense, and I completely understand why Nintendo is so sheepish as to what to do next, because the last time they tried to do something new and different, it was the Wii U, and we all know how that took off. And the problem that they've got now is they've got something that is so incredibly successful in the Switch. And by incredibly successful, it's one of the top selling consoles of all time. It's not just a console. It's like one of the best ever selling consoles. So to try and top that and make sure that you don't lose that going into the next console, whatever it is that you design, you're going to have to make sure it is a worthy successor. So I can understand why they don't just create just yet another console or a souped up the Switch because they don't want to ruin what they've created. So I think whatever they do with the next Switch, I think it will have a degree of backwards compatibility to make sure that they don't
I sure
lose.
hope so. Nintendo is not. Yeah, Nintendo is not very famous for doing backward compatibility. They rather sell you the same versions over and over again.
Yeah,
but
I think on this occasion it's a bit different. I think with just the sheer volume of Switches on the market, and having only recently put the OLED edition onto the market, I think whenever we do get another Switch, it's going to have a degree of backwards compatibility, a bit like when we got the 2DS, well, the Nintendo DS, and then got the 3DS. Of course, you can still use your DS games on your 3DS.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the same as that. I think you'll still have the same cartridges. There might be slightly larger size cartridges. By that I mean capacity. So be slightly larger capacity cartridges for the next Switches, or Switch games, but previous generation cartridges for the Switch will work perfectly fine in the console. Or you'll get some kind of modular thing that you can buy separately in order to plug in your Switch games to the next console or something along those lines. But yeah, I think I can understand why they're so sheepish and why, and you've got to think it's pretty much exactly the same as where Sony are now. They released one of the most popular consoles ever in the PlayStation 4, and then they've had to follow that up with the PlayStation 5 and hope it does just as well. And granted, it's doing all right so far, but if you
life-to-date sales are better than with the PS4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you actually compare the what they brought out on the PlayStation 4, especially at the tail end, to what they have brought out so far, like the PlayStation 4 still categorically probably the better console as it stands, the more popular console out of the two of them. So I would say, yeah, I think I can understand why Nintendo is so sheepish when they've got a console that is selling in the millions every month. And there are upwards of like 120 million consoles sold already, which is bonkers in 6 years. Like no console, I think it's one of the fastest selling consoles ever as well.
I think it's only topped by the PS2 and Wii so far at the moment. But it's on good track to actually take over the Wii. Yeah.
Which is just insane. Yeah, but I can completely understand. I love the Switch myself. We've always had the same gripes. It needs more power, and that's not for us. I mean, for the developers. I think if the developers and what they've been able to achieve with such pitiful hardware is just phenomenal. And when people complain about the quality of the game, like of the performance and things on Pokemon recently, I'm just like, well, I don't blame the developers for this, like at all. How can you possibly blame a developer for the performance issues on a game when the console is literally outputting less than a phone that has come out in 2007?
Yeah,
like it is that, like the hardware is that bad.
Yeah,
a phone from 2007 is as powerful as the Switch. It's stupid.
That's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous if you think about it. And I mean, it shows like the recent Pokemon. Even though people liked it, it ran like
it had performance issues. It did run like crap.
Literally, it's like you back to the N64 days where we played games at like 15 FPS or so. So that's so true. But you make a lot of sense, man. I don't think 6 years into a generation you need like an enhanced version. You could just move the console forward. But following up such a massive success, you kind of have to have a good idea of where to go. And Nintendo usually always has done like their own way, they've always tried new things.
I think the problem Nintendo have, unlike every other console that's released, like every other normal console, so you've got to think like Xbox and PlayStation have this really easy upper hand over Nintendo in one front, because Nintendo have inadvertently boxed themselves into a console that is hybrid. is both handheld and it's on the go. Now with the Wii, they didn't have that issue, but the problem is they've following the SNES, they then released the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advanced and the 2DS and the DS and the 3DS and the Switch, and all those have been very portable, but also extremely successful.
Yeah.
And their home consoles haven't always been successful in terms of numbers sold. So they've boxed themselves into this playground where they have to be a hybrid console now.
Yeah.
In order to kind of get the best of both worlds. What they don't want to do is release just a Game Boy or just a console. They want to do both at the same time, which means they've got the added pressure of, right, we've got to not only just nail the hardware, but we've got to get it at a price point that is going to sell. Because Nintendo fans are stupid, but they're not stupid. Like, Nintendo fans won't spend $500-600 on a handheld device. Like, they just won't do it. Like, 300-340 is where that price point has been. I think they won't get away with much more than maybe 400 if they upped the performance. And the problem you've got then is then you're bringing out things like the OLED panel on screens, and like the cheapest OLED phones you can get now that are actually powerful and would do a good job in what Nintendo need. You're talking like £1,000 phones. Like, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
And the hardware that goes into these powerful phones in order to do what Nintendo need for a console that's mobile is really expensive equipment. So I don't envy the task of trying to create a new hybrid console that is going to natively play games with a powerful like chipset that is going to cheap enough to manufacture and cheap enough for the consumer.
Steam did it.
Kind of. They did it, but the battery life is worse than the Switch.
True. That's true. But on the other hand, I think it would still be a good selling point. So to place it like that. I mean, of course, if it's probably not going to come out in 23. So what are we talking here? 24, maybe 25, something like that.
I'd still say that this Switch and the OLED's got a good 3-4 years left on it. It sounds like a long time.
There might be a little overlap. They've done that in previous generations as well. Like when the GameCube came out, like Zelda Twilight Princess still came out on the N64 and of course the GameCube. So they have done stuff like that really early in the day. So why not do it again? Because you want to keep those 120 million customers. You want to keep them buying your games. But on the other hand, you want to sell the new hardware.
Exactly the same issue that PlayStation had. Like Microsoft, of course, naturally they had like 60 million customers. But PlayStation had 120 million customers on PlayStation 4. So for them to be able to ditch the last gen and go into the new gen isn't as streamlined as Xbox. Xbox can literally just, thankfully, they've got a solution, which is cloud. But PlayStation don't have that solution. So they can't just drop the previous gen. They have to continue because otherwise they lose 120 million customers.
True.
And this is what Nintendo are going to have the issue with: is we're going to have to do backwards compatibility, or we're going to lose 120 million guaranteed consumers.
Yeah.
And when you have a look at their attach rates, like their attach rates for games are phenomenal.
But then at the same time they have been very successfully selling you the same stuff all over again. So if they have I feel like a revolutionary idea where they say, okay, this is different enough, not just a more powerful Switch, but it is different enough for people to actually invest again in a new console while still being backward compatible. And then they might do it. Otherwise, I think they might sell you just the same games twice. Let me briefly shout out Kirby Louise, who's in the chat and sends in a super chat of $5. Thank you, man, for that. And he says, Nintendo fans won't spend $500 to $600 on a handheld. He says, while people like me spend that much on Steam Decks and AMD 780-40U handhelds. That's the thing.
I don't think Nintendo would sell it at that much either. That's the problem. I don't think Nintendo want to sell. And it sounds stupid for a company that sold you cardboard, But I don't think Nintendo are stupid enough to think that their fan base would buy a $500-$600 machine. I don't think they will.
I would, but that's the thing. I'm not the normie.
With lots of power, I would buy it absolutely because I want a powerful Nintendo.
I've always said like,
yeah.
I also said like I want to have the enhanced Xbox console, like super powerful, and then it can cost like $800 to $1,000. If the hardware's right. But I know that I'm not normal in that way. I'm like a super gaming fan. I'm willing to spend that much money.
But we're also the type of people that can look at some specifications on paper and think, is that worth the money?
Yes, true.
Nintendo fans aren't, of course. What we've seen is, yes, the OLED screen looks fantastic, but is it worth?
Is it worth it?
Really jump over the?
If you already have one, Now, if you're getting a new one, obviously that's the model to go for. But and Kirby, I'm with you. We all spend money, like to throw money at a Steam Deck and other awesome console hardware. But I'm not sure.
I don't think Nintendo
if the masses would agree. All right, man. All right. So let's see. I put up a poll in the chat because I actually wanted to know how many of our listeners actually do own a Switch. And I'm just going to close it now because we already have a good vote here. And 47% said yes, they own. So basically half of people listening to us own a Switch. So we should probably cover a little bit more often some of the Nintendo news. We always only talk about PlayStation and Xbox and sometimes PC. But yeah, so 40% said no and 11% said yes if it would be a Pro. So basically a more powerful version of the Switch. So yeah, good stuff here. Good stuff. Man, it's time to talk about 2023. 2023 is, honestly, I feel like it can go down as one of the most packed years in gaming history ever. And that's not just Xbox stuff. By the way, I've said it in the beginning, but we have already more than 80 live viewers here on the channel. So what we are going to do here today is a preview for 23. We're going to talk about all the stuff that comes out, but we are not going to focus here on Xbox too much today because next week we're going to do an Xbox special preview show because we have Randall Thor as a guest, and who better to talk with about Xbox in 23 than Rand. So we are going to focus here today, of course, on PlayStation, Nintendo, and the third parties, because especially third-party games are, it's insane what we will talk and play about. So how do you feel? Could it go down in history as one of the most packed years?
Oh God, absolutely. We only know but a fraction of what's coming out next year so far. We know
that's
third
so
party,
crazy.
we know some first party, but there is still like June of the year that we already have. Like I've already got a list of 15 games that I know I'm playing next year. 15, minimum 15 games. That's not including, and I forgot to put the likes of Replaced and things on there as well, which is like indie games.
The smaller games.
It's like I'm not titles. I've already
like
got
the AAA blockbusters. If you only count AAA blockbusters, 15.
And that's not
sounds
for
about
me.
right.
That's not including Spider-Man because I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. So if you include Spider-Man for people who are playing Spider-Man, then you've got at least 16, 17 games, not including whatever happens after June.
And that's the thing. For almost everything that we know about, we only know. We only talk about games that are at least right now supposed to come out in the first half. So let's have a look here at some of the biggest names. Let's start with January. In January 19th, not for me, but I know it's big. Persona 4 is gonna come out on Xbox. Then, one day later, January 20th, Monster Hunter Rise is gonna come out basically on everything, but it's a Game Pass Day 1 title. So, and I feel like that's a big one. The Monster Hunter games have been played by millions. It's gonna come out PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, and Xbox One, so still a cross-gen game. And you can tell from the looks of it. Nevertheless, it's a massive game, man. Then what else? Forspoken is gonna come out on January 24th, and then we have H2 on consoles on January 31st. There are more games in January. I'm just listing the bigger ones here. What do you think? Good start for the year?
Oh God, yeah. There's so many games coming out. Like my pre-orders have already. This is the ridiculousness. So the start of next year, my pre-orders, I've got Dead Space, Hogwarts Legacy, Cyberpunk.
All February, dude. We're getting to February in a second.
Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously Dead Space in January. There's just so many. Like I say, it's just in January alone. There's so many games that I'm looking forward to. But God, yeah, it's packed.
It is absolutely. It is packed. What do you make of Monster Hunter coming to?
Yeah, that's one of the games I've already got pre-installed. I've got the other Monster Hunter. I haven't really played it through, but hopefully with this one going straight into Game Pass, I'm going to convince a few other people to play Monster Hunter Rise and experience it in co-op for a change. I have never played Monster Hunter in co-op. I've already just tried to play by myself, but I imagine it's a lot more interesting, a lot more fun when you're playing with friends. So
absolutely,
fingers crossed I can convince a few people to play Rise and see what that's all about.
I'm definitely gonna give it a try. We can partner up, man, and just see how good it is and how it's gonna hook
together.
So Forspoken, I played the demo, and while it wasn't bad, it wasn't great either.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is like, for me at least, wait for deep sale material. Maybe the game hooks you more if you played from the beginning, because you were dropped in the middle, and it's like a really complicated combat system where you have like multiple menus of stuff to choose from, and I don't know, it really did not click with me. I ended up button smashing everything and winning everything. So I'm not sure how good or deep the combat actually is. Again, maybe if you're introduced to it more on a slower pace, maybe. But then the open world looked kind of dull and empty. So I don't know. Forspoken for me at the moment. But then you mentioned Dead Space. Yeah, I forgot to read that out. Yeah, it's Dead Space, January 27th. Man, obviously. That game just looks so good. That looks so good. And we know that the game itself is good.
You know the game itself is brilliant. But then to see the work that they've put into visually and audio, like I'm looking forward to hearing the audio, as creepy as it'll be, and as much as I'll probably take the headphones off and just play it through the speakers. As creepy as it'll be, I'm looking forward to hearing what they've done with the audio to make it more creepy, and to see the lighting truly kind of create the world that was originally intended. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for it. Looks just so good. And then of course H2, the definitive edition at the very end of January. That's gonna be awesome. And like John TJ said earlier, we definitely gonna have to play that. Then February, Deliver Us Mars on February 2nd, Hogwarts Legacy February 10th, Wild Hearts February 17th, and then Atomic Hearts is gonna drop on February 21st. Then we have PlayStation VR 2 coming on February 22nd, and along with it, of course, Horizon as a launch title and all the other games. And Destiny Lightfall is gonna come out in February 28th. I think that's at least the biggest ones for February. Man, what a month! What a month! And that's only the stuff we know about. So I feel like definitely, of course, Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be probably the biggest one in that month. Obviously, and it looks really good. It looks like the Harry Potter game we wanted for, I don't know, 10 plus years. Time. Yes. So you're gonna pre-order it?
Yes, it's already pre-ordered.
It is already. See, there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Looks so good, man. Like the hub world where you can really like fly around, then you have like super deep RPG system, and it makes sense in that universe to place an RPG in that universe where you like learn like spells and potions and everything.
And you've got the customizability of the world as well. It's not just like just a little world. You've got your dorm rooms, you've got your potion center, you've got this room where you can kind of upgrade it, and you can go to lessons, or you can just fly around and doing things, and you can go to adventures, and it's just so much more in depth than I ever thought it would be. And it's what probably I think every actual Harry Potter fan wants. There's this big in-depth world where you can do adventures or have this awesome story to follow. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Then we have Deliver Us Mars. We had the developers on a couple of months ago, which was really awesome, and it's finally coming out. Cannot wait actually to play it, to see what they've made of it. So definitely looking forward to that. PSVR 2, you getting one?
Absolutely not. No. Not for that price as well. I'm still pick up the PlayStation 5. So technically, if I was going to pick up the PlayStation 5, it would be setting us back like 1,500 quid. So it's a no from me.
No, yeah. It's a heavy investment. Honestly, I'm a little burnt by the first one. Because the thing with VR is, if you have a really good VR headset, the experience can be incredible. But if it's not good, it can be equally bad. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people that say, oh, VR isn't for me. And then you ask, okay, have you tried it? Yeah, I tried like PSVR 1 or something like that. Yeah. And of course you don't like that. Yeah, it's not a good experience. Now, this time the hardware actually, from its specs, it could be a real good headset. I still want to test it properly myself before investing in it, and I want to see what else after Horizon comes out. Because Horizon is like the thing you want to play at the beginning, but I'm not gonna invest $600 into a VR headset for that one game. So for me, it's a wait and see how VR 2 will turn out and how good the support will be. So that's where I feel like a lot of people in the chat feel a similar way.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't blame them either, to be fair. I don't blame them.
And then Destiny Lightfall, end of February.
It looks cool, but not for me. No, I haven't got the time to jump back into a game that I've played before.
See, I should invite Cognito to talk about that.
Yes. Yeah. You'd be there for hours.
Oh yeah, indeed. So let's have a look at March. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is coming out March 3rd. your favorite game, Skull and Bones, March 9th.
That's not coming out in March. That's not coming out. That's going to get delayed. I can guarantee it.
Again, I don't think so. Honestly, I think they know that it's going to tank anyway. It's not going to be a success. So at some point, they're just going to bring it out and then forget about it. Just like they did with, what was it called? Extraction last year. Yeah. One of my most anticipated games for the entire next year is going to come out in March. Jedi Survivor, March 17th. And we have the Resident Evil 4 remake coming in March. On March 24th. So, yeah, man. I'm not sure about Wolong. The good thing is it's going to come out on Game Pass, so we can try it. But yeah, Jedi, man, I know you're equally excited for the game. Jedi Survivor, it looks fantastic. Pre-ordered. Yeah, that's definitely a pre-order. And I'm also trying to book in a day of work, honestly, for that. I cannot wait. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought what they did with the combat system and the storytelling and like just everything about the game was Star Wars. It was just like satisfying lightsaber fights. It was like pacing was great. So I cannot wait to see. Did you see it? It got an adult rating today because you apparently have limbs falling off, and it's got mature language in it. So the tone is apparently a little darker. Yeah,
good.
With this one, good. Yeah. Anything you want to add to Survivor?
No, I'm just. It looks. Of course, we all loved the first one. There was a few gripes that we all had in the first one, and mainly it was mainly kind of the backtracking so much on the same places. So you'd go to the same places like 3 or 4 times, and you'd be like, right, okay. Like that's one of them. The only gripes I had about the game was that you went to the same places too many times. I think this one looks like it's rectified a lot of that issues, and now they're even talking about things like mounts and being able to ride across things, so it's just making me think it's bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super hyped about it. Can't wait to see what it's all about.
It's one of the first real big Unreal 5 games, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be cool. What else? Yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's another one I've got pre-ordered. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil.
Same here.
Ever.
Yeah. I just remember picking that up on the GameCube at the time. And it was like revolutionary. Not just the graphics. Never seen something like that before. It was like
and it did away with the tank controls, which was one of the best things they could have done.
Yeah.
No more tank controls. Yeah. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks really good. They've got a parry system now as well for the chainsaw. So you no longer just die.
I wonder how much they will actually change in terms of like gameplay mechanics. Because if you look at like Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3, where they did the remake, they actually did a lot with the games. They definitely didn't feel like remakes. They felt more like new games to me.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they can achieve the same kind of feeling for Resident Evil 4. Yeah, man. Exciting stuff. So what else do we have? In April, Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores, so the DLC is gonna come out. I know people didn't like Horizon Forbidden West. I truly did. I did enjoy it. Was it like the best game ever made? No, it was also not on my game of the year list, but I had a blast playing it. It was a fun game. Nothing too deep, but if time allows it, I'm gonna play DLC. Dead Island 2 is gonna come out April 28th. Finally. You think they will hit that date?
I think they'll hit the date, but I think it's for a lot of people, it's too little, too late. I think it's just one of them things where you're just like, there's so many more games that are going to occupy my time.
Because, like, the list of games confirmed for 23 and especially first half is long. We're gonna get to that list in a second.
They're not. This is not short games either. Like, these are pretty long games.
Yeah. So even if some of the months, like April, only has like these two things announced so far, we know there's gonna be a lot more. A big one is gonna come out in May. Zelda Tears of Kingdom, May 12th. How do you feel about the Breath of the Wild 2 game?
I've got Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's a cool game, but I don't like exactly the reason I didn't like Oblivion and why I loved Skyrim. I didn't like Oblivion because the weapons broke. I loved Skyrim because they didn't.
Yeah.
Unless they change that mechanic in Zelda, then I'm not going to be playing the second one. I don't like the fact that you can pick up a weapon and 6 moves later it's dead, and you have to find another weapon.
No, that's true. They died pretty quick.
Weapon in the game.
Yeah.
The strongest weapon in the game can break and you lose it forever. Now, what is the point in that? what is the point?
Like the Master Sword. That. Yeah. So, for me, it was more like the cooking mechanics. I had to cook so much stuff, and it got kind of repetitive. Listen, I liked Breath of the Wild, but I didn't think it was a good Zelda game per se.
Yeah.
Like, if I compare that to some of my... What are the best Zelda games? Yeah, in my opinion, of course. Like, of course, Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess. Like, if you compare Breath of the Wild to those and their impact at the time, like, do you remember when Ocarina of Time came out? That was revolutionary, that game. Yeah, and it had that Zelda feeling.
Yeah.
They kind of lost that with Breath of the Wild. They tried to do like this amazing open world and everything you see you can go to and you can climb everything. But then the climbing becomes kind of annoying because you never knew if I start climbing that I'm gonna fall off and I'm gonna die because my stamina is not good enough. Then they had, like you said, the weapons break all the time and stuff like that. And they only had like 3 major dungeons. And you could do them in any order you wanted. Because, like, in the past Zelda games, it was necessary to get, like, the bombs to enter a certain temple. And then you had to have the bow to enter the next temple. And so on. Like that Metroidvania kind of idea, yeah? You find certain equipment and then certain areas or temples or dungeons open up. And they didn't have that in Breath of the Wild. So it was a good one, a good game. It wasn't, I don't think it was a masterpiece. Sorry,
no.
I just don't think.
I agree.
I enjoyed playing it, but if I compare it to the quality of other Zelda games, like over the summer, I replayed Link's Awakening, the remaster or remake that they launched on the Switch. Like that's just night and day difference. Better, simply a better Zelda game, if you ask me.
That's the thing, and the people keep harping on about Breath of the Wild because it changed the formula for Zelda. What I don't agree with is that it changed the formula for open world games, like they keep harping on about, because it didn't. Like, open world games didn't dramatically change. Yes, the mechanics for launching things across the room was cool, but that's just kinetic abilities. There's a lot of games that have had kinetic abilities before, they just didn't use them in the same way. So I don't agree that it changed the genre. Yes, it changed the Zeldas for the best going forwards, but it's something different. It changed up Zelda where it needed something fresh. But do I think it's probably one of the better games ever made? No, not at all. I think it's very much a Marmite game, in my opinion. I think some people are going to love that, and others are just going to think it's pretty boring, which is what I thought.
Yeah. Here, people in chat have a great conversation. Our chat always has a great conversation.
Yes.
See, Mr. Journey Dark says Majora's Mask and Wind Waker were the best ones for him. That's a good shout.
Good shout.
Yeah. We have. He also mentions a link between Worlds and Minish Cap. Yeah, true that. Pyromad says the Zelda he truly loves is Link to the Past. I agree. It's for me the best ones is either Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time, one of the two. So yeah, and Tim the Sorcerer mentions Ocarina of Time and the Rumble Pack with the horse. Oh yeah. That was revolutionary at the time. We didn't have that. Great times, man. Great times. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Tears of Kingdom. I hope that they improve upon some of the things, and that I get the, maybe it's just the simple fact that you could play through the entire game and not even see the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Like that's just not Zelda to me. I want to have, like, in every good Zelda, you have that moment where you go into the forest or go into the chapel and you pull out this Master Sword and then that's it. And I didn't have that moment.
And it lasts for the entire game and it doesn't break.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, but Dustin Lambert, he is a great Breath of the Wild fan, obviously. He says, Breath of the Wild exploration and open world is the best he's seen, hands down. Yeah, man, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. That's what's so great about gaming. Everyone can like and enjoy different kind of things. So, yeah. Good stuff here about Zelda in May. Before I put together the list for the show, I did not know that game has an actual release date, and that is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has a release date set for May 26th.
Yep.
I must have missed that.
Pretty recently. Yeah, I think it was pretty recent when they announced that. I don't think it was that long ago.
Super excited for that game. Man, Rocksteady, they are just top-notch developers. I know a lot of people didn't like Arkham Knight. I thought it was a fantastic game. It was not as good as Arkham City, which is just a standout game. One of the best games ever made, in my opinion. So I cannot wait to see. They have now, how long has it been in development? I think 8 years now.
A while. Yeah.
7 or 8 years. It's gonna come out on May 26th, apparently. So yeah, the little we've seen looks fantastic. It looks like the movement looks like a mixture in between Sunset Overdrive and the Arkham games. And yeah, I cannot wait. How do you feel about it? I know you're not the biggest superhero fan, but
I don't mind anti-hero games. I just don't like the cheesy superhero games. Which is why I like Guardians of the Galaxy, because it's like they don't take themselves seriously. It's meant to be fun. Whereas like games like Batman and things like that are all like super serious, like superhero defender. Like I don't want any of that. Right? I just want some fun when I'm playing as a superhero. I want to be able to crush villains or have some fun stupidity with it. So I'm looking forward to that because it's, again, they don't take themselves seriously. It's a little bit more adult, as we know. With Kill the Justice League, it's meant to be kind of a little bit more, should we say, risque. It's meant to be more arched towards adults and things like that. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure. Is it confirmed? Is it gonna be a co-op game? I think so. Maybe it's just hopeful
element to it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And then we only have like 3 games left in June that have an actual release date for. Before we get to the list, what else is announced. Street Fighter 6 on June 2nd. Diablo 4. Yeah, you're excited for that, yeah. I know many are. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fighter, but I have to admit, it kind of looks cool, and it reminds me of like the Street Fighter 2 days. Like,
it's just they've done a lot to this game to make up for the previous one. Like the previous one, not only was it of course not on Xbox at all after all the Street Fighters were before that. But on this one, they've added so many elements to it that have really made it stand out compared to the previous one. So I'm super hyped to see what it is that they've actually done with this, because it looks tremendous.
Yep, absolutely it does. Doom Reaper in chat says Baldur's Gate is scheduled for August 20 next year. I'm not sure if it's scheduled. In the list I looked up, it says it does not have a release date yet. So just wanted to put, that's why we have it in the list of games that do not have a release date. And Mr. Jordan Dark says we forgot Flintstock. I think he means Flintlock.
Flintlock. Yeah,
which is true. Yeah,
I cannot wait for that.
It's exciting. I could not include every game coming. Yeah. I tried to focus on the bigger
Diablo 4.
No, hang on. We get to Diablo 4. Flintlock, I left it out because little smaller game, and it's mainly an Xbox game, and we're gonna talk about that with Randall for next week. So, okay. What else in June? Diablo 4. Now it's coming. And Diablo 4 is coming June 6th.
Yes.
It's going to take over my life. I hope it's the one game that will break my H4 addiction. And I can put that to rest and then spend like 700 or 800 hours in Diablo 4. I cannot wait. Everything about the game looks fantastic. And the weird thing is to me, Dutch, whenever I post about my excitement of Diablo, I almost only get comments like, oh, it's gonna be filled with microtransactions and it's gonna be pay to win and blah, 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 stuff like that. Well, Blizzard came out and said there are gonna be microtransactions in there, but it's only gonna be cosmetics. There's no pay to win. Regular game. You get the full content when you buy the game. I want to believe them because they have. That would be a hard lie. Honestly, that would be tough. And on the other hand, I don't think we should compare like a free-to-play mobile game to like a full-price title. Which is Diablo 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, to be honest with this game looks absolutely phenomenal.
It does.
I can't wait. To be honest, this looks far more. It looks like it's going to be a lot more fun in co-op than any previous Diablo was ever going to be. I like the randomized boss battles that just pop up out of portals and things like that. The world looks a lot more interesting. It looks a lot more like an MMORPG than it does a regular Diablo.
Yep.
Which means that the longevity and the reason for having high level characters is probably going to be a lot better. And I think the customizability and things that go into it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, I'm super hyped for it.
Yeah,
another game I've actually got pre-ordered.
Same. Simply because I still think the ABK deal will be done by June, but I want to play the beta, and that's for the pre-order guys. And so. Yeah, man, but as you said, like, this mixture of classic Diablo and more like open world and MMO style, I cannot wait for that. I'm looking forward to have like this gigantic hub world that I can just roam in with my friends, and then you have like these public events, just like in Destiny. That's something that Destiny actually, I think, does really well, where you have like these open hub worlds. And then if you want to go on your quest, on your in your dungeon run and get the loot for the next big thing. You just go into the next cave and then you're alone in your personal dungeon. And then you exit that dungeon and you're back in the hub world and you see everyone else. And I feel like Diablo is made for that. And if they nail it and don't screw it up for some reason, it has the potential to become something really, really, really special. And I do mean it. I will spend hundreds of hours in that game. I wonder, Dutch, because Diablo has always been for me also like a local co-op game. I played it's Diablo 3 with my buddies sitting on the couch. We have a box of beer and pizza and then just go for it. Diablo 4, I hope they bring that back. I have no idea if they have mentioned. I didn't hear anything about local co-op so far, but I do hope they bring it back.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That's all we can hope for, really, isn't it?
And then we have Final Fantasy 16 coming on June 22nd.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's a pass from me for Final Fantasy.
How come?
Pass from me.
How come?
I just don't like the horrific British accents they always put in. It's, to put it simply, like the I don't know why they keep doing it, and I don't know what possesses them, but the British accents that they put in these games is just so bad, like so bad.
Okay.
I don't know why they keep doing it, but they do, and we've got to deal with it.
I think the game actually looks good, really good. I'm probably also one of the few Final Fantasy fans that actually enjoyed Final Fantasy 15. I thought 15, it had a super slow start. I played the game when it came out, and I quit after, 5-6 hours because I was so tired of driving around in that car and the, cool bro dude talk of the main protagonists. But a couple of years later, I gave the game a second chance and I pushed through. And after Act 4, it became just an awesome Final Fantasy game. I had a blast with the game. Not the best Final Fantasy ever, no doubt, but very good one. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. The trailers they have shown, they look fantastic, and they said that's running in real time. So
yeah,
you can say about Square what you want. They know how to make a looker. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Am I going to pre-order? That's a good question. Probably not, because around that time, we know a lot of other games will also hit. And I think that's a good segue into the list of games that do not have a release date. But with Diablo alone in June, I simply do not have the time for Final Fantasy, which is also a massive game. So, but I'm still excited for it. And I'm definitely going to play it a little later that year, probably then on a sale or something. So yeah, what else is coming next year? H4. I want to say H4.
Yeah.
To consoles. And people have been asking me, Dutch, if I'm going to do a tutorial or introduction to H, give like basic ideas of basic strategies and stuff. And I'm definitely going to do that because I've been approached by so many. So when the time is right, I'm going to do like a beginner's guide here on the channel. For sure.
Nice.
For sure. Assassin's Creed Mirage is also coming out next year.
Yes.
How do we feel about it?
Not for me.
Why not?
But that's the next, because I'm all Assassin's Creed out for the minute. The next Assassin's Creed I'm looking forward to is it Project Red or something it's called? Which is the
Japan one, or the witch hunt one?
Feudal Japan.
Feudal Japan.
The witch hunt one. Yeah. Feudal Japan, absolutely. That is the perfect setting for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
and they made a point of saying that because they said it in the stream as well when they announced it. They were like, "You've literally been asking for it for years.
Yeah.
So here you go.
There you go.
We're doing a Feudal Japan." I was like, thank God for that. Eventually, like, it's a perfect set, and we've seen what that kind of game can be when people have played Ghost of Tsushima. And if people haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, play it, because that is a really great non-Ubisoft Assassin's Creed game. That's a really good kind of feudal kind of Japan version of an Assassin's Creed game. And people hate to say that because, of course, there's more to it than just that. But ultimately, it's very much a Ubisoft-esque game. In Ghost of Tsushima,
it is absolutely. Hey, it absolutely is. Yeah. No, good shout. But listen, I'm an Assassin's Creed guy. Yeah. So I like love Odyssey. I love Valhalla. I just do. But Mirage has me excited because they are going back to like more the roots of it, and I kind of have the itch to experience something like with AC 1, 2, 3. And this one, from what we hear and what we've seen so far, is gonna go down that route. And I love it. I love that they have an Assassin's Creed, not like massive open world, millions of question marks, but I want to see that more streamlined AC experience again. So I'm having great hopes for it. I would be surprised if I didn't pre-order it, honestly. Alan Wake 2 is scheduled for next year.
It is.
It is. So how do we feel about that?
I've got to admit, I'm not overly hyped about it. I did enjoy the first game, but it's not one that's sitting high up on my priority list. There's so many games coming out next year that I've got to think of the ones that I can prioritize my time for, and Alan Wake 2 is not up there. I enjoyed the first game, but it wasn't this standout that a lot of people like to say it was. In my eyes, it was good, but it wasn't.
I thought it was. I'm a little bit more enthusiastic about Alan Wake, honestly. But I do have the feeling that it will suffer from exactly that fate that you described. Many thought it wasn't a super successful game after all at its time. The people that played it, most of them liked it, and there was a certain part of the fan base that was like super excited about it. And they've been vocal enough for Remedy to finally make a sequel, and now they're gonna drop that sequel in 23. In between a Diablo, a Final Fantasy, a Spider-Man, and a Starfield, and Redfall, and Forza, and Stalker, and Suicide Squad, and all Assassin's Creed. And right in between that, I don't think it will be a success.
Nope. I agree.
That's my fear. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like there will be a lot of games that will suffer that fate because it's just too packed. And there will still be like the indie games. They will be successful because they appeal to like you and me and the hardcore community here that will play them regardless. But Alan Wake is a game that has like a high AAA budget, and they need to have like a little bit more wider audience, and it will be tough for them. It will be tough for them next year. I mean, of course, it depends on the release point, but it will be tough. Arc 2 is coming. Starring Vin Diesel. Man, he's riding a dinosaur. And what do we make of this?
I mean, the benefit that I've got for this is that it is a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
Has a single player story. unlike its original release, which was a mess. Like the first game was an absolute mess. So I'm glad it's going to be more likely that I'll give this one a chance than the previous one. But is it high up on my list? Probably not. Am I glad it's going into Game Pass? Absolutely. It means I don't have to worry about spending money on it or to try it out to see if it's any good. So it's just a case of wait and see. Let's hope it's good.
Listen, I totally agree with you. The first one was super weird.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's probably the most weird game I've played to date. I still don't know why people enjoyed it, but it was a massive success. And now it looks like coming in Unreal 5, Vin Diesel as like the front face, and it has a full-fledged single-player campaign. So if that's a good campaign, like, I don't expect this to be a super deep game. I mean, it's Vin Diesel riding a T-Rex. Yeah, so no doubt. But I expect like a 6 to 8 hour, like popcorn action kind of a movie theater story thing. It could be fun. We shall see, man. Armored Core 6 is also scheduled for next year.
Yeah.
That's a pass for my side, honestly.
Same. It's not something that's ever really jumped out to me. So, yeah, it's not something that's going to take a lot of my time, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Avatar.
Oh, I would love to say that's scheduled for next year, but they said 23, 24.
If you go to the homepage,
definitely,
it's scheduled for 23. They said it's gonna come out in the fiscal year 23, 24.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's like second half of 23 and first half of 24. And it's listed in the release schedule for 23. It's still listed in that. And I feel like Ubisoft needs a couple of releases, man. Have you seen their stock prices? They are on a record low. The stock price of Ubisoft is an all-time low. And they haven't released a proper game in what now? How many months? 12, 15 months?
Yeah.
So I feel like they need a couple of releases next year. Assassin's Creed Mirage, Avatar, what else do they have? For next year. So I'm not sure, man. It could be. Baldur's Gate 3 coming to PC. Is that something you're looking into? Baldur's Gate?
Not for me. I don't know about you, but
Baldur's absolutely.
Gate's never been one for me.
Absolutely.
You're like, yes.
Oh, I mean, yes.
All day long. No, for me, it's not, unfortunately.
Okay. No, I'm looking forward. It looks fantastic. I sure hope it will make its way to console too. They said they might look into it after launch, so Dune is gonna come out next year. Are you interested in that?
In the game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly interested to see what it is. Yeah.
That was like, everyone was like, yes, Dune, that trailer looks awesome. And then we all learned it's a games as a service, MMO kind of game.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, no. So
no. Yeah.
This one's for you. Are Eden Chronicles 100 Heroes?
Oh, absolutely. That was the one I was looking forward to the most. Eden Chronicles Rising was good. But the platformer, like the side-scrolling platformer, wasn't the one I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to 100 Heroes, which was the traditional turn-based JRPG. Yeah, can't wait for it. It looks absolutely brilliant.
That's gonna be my xCloud game,
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect for that. Everspace 2.
Not for me. Again, too big.
Yeah, that's the thing about the time next year.
And there's, like I say,
wish
we've
that
already
game all the
so many
success.
big, like of all the big games we've got, like Hogwarts is going to be huge. Like I think people are underestimating just how big that game is going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be massive.
Yeah, I think so too.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is, yes, they're saying, it's not the biggest of them because we're going to go short style, but it's still a 20, 30 hour game.
Yeah.
You're talking Suicide Squad. That's going to be 30, 40 hour game.
Yeah.
You're talking like Starfield is going to be hundreds of hours.
Hundreds of
You've
Diablo.
got Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, which is going to be another 30, 40 hours. Diablo is going to be 40 plus hours. Stalker is going to be
Diablo is going to be hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and then you've got, again, depending on how many hours you put into the likes of your Age of Empires and things like that.
Oh yeah.
There's hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and I feel for the community because they are about to enter like greatness. When H4 is gonna come to console, the console community is gonna experience greatness. Literally the best strategy game made in the last decade or so. Absolutely. Yeah. You absolutely. Forza is a massive time sink for many people. I also feel like Redfall is not gonna be a short game. It's still gonna be like at least 25 to 30 hours, something like that.
Yeah, easy, minimum.
Easy. Stalker 2 is a 100-hour game.
Oh, easy, yeah.
That's
at least.
So yeah, you're right, man. All right. Yeah, Forza is, of course, I mentioned that, but we're gonna talk about that next week. Layers of Fear gonna come out next year. Lots of horror coming.
I know. If you've played the previous Layers of Fear, which I hope people have tried at least,
yeah,
you'll know it's a bit of a different style game. It's not your average game, put it that way.
True that.
Let's see what it looks like. Let's see how it is. But I don't know if it's anything like the other Layers of Fear. It's just a walking simulator.
Hypercharge is gonna come out next year.
Yes, it is. I'll be playing that. I'll be playing that. It's gonna be fun.
Minecraft Legends. We're gonna talk about it next week. Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
I know you're not the massive superhero fan. I am, and I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I bet it will look very similar to what we've seen with Miles Morales, honestly. I don't think it will be like a generational leap in terms of graphics. It will look a little bit more polished, little more extra detailed, but it's gonna be simply a good game. Insomniac just nails it. The traversal, the story, the writing, the combat, it's just good. And they, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? When they, pardon me, when they published the blog, they ensured, okay, it's still scheduled for next year. We know it's Sony, and these days we cannot trust much what Sony has to say. But they sounded, but we can trust usually Insomniac, and they sounded still very, very confident that they're gonna hit 23. So I think that's probably PlayStation's biggest game for next year. I don't think that like a new Naughty Dog game is gonna come out next year or something else. They have, of course, like Final Fantasy and Forspoken as an exclusive, or at least console exclusives. But in terms of first party, I think Spider-Man 2 is gonna be the big one. Maybe they have another one, a smaller one coming. Like Returnal size game. We shall see. What else do you think could Sony have next year outside of Spider-Man?
That's difficult. That's so difficult because I don't know. I want them to have a lot of games, but I can't see them having many. It's because they haven't done anything to kind of showcase what they could be working on. That gets me kind of more concerned about what they're doing. I hope they've got something next for me anyway. Something for me next year, because as it stands right now, they've got nothing that I want to play. I don't want I'm not interested in Final Fantasy 16. I'm not interested in Forspoken. They're meant to have another Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 next year. Believe it or not, as well as 16.
Yep.
So outside of a copious amount of Square Enix games, they don't have anything else first party outside of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think they we know that the what's it called, Last of Us multiplayer thing, factions, that's scheduled for next year. I think they will try to promote that big time, along with the TV series. They have a multiplayer Last of Us coming. It's got that name to it. I think that they will try to make it a bigger thing than it actually will be, because if it would be like this massive, super online experience of Last of Us, they would have already started promoting it.
Yeah.
And they have done nothing outside of Neil Druckmann saying it's coming. Yeah, we shall see, man. Oxenfree 2 is coming next year, and RoboCop. The new RoboCop game.
RoboCop looks interesting.
It looks it
I'm
does.
looking forward to seeing what that's going to be.
Yeah, I wondered so too. I already mentioned Stalker 2, and we're gonna talk about that next week as well, of course, because it's an Xbox ecosystem exclusive. Star Trek Resurgence is coming.
Yeah, not for me. Never been a big Trekkie fan. That's one of the things that my dad used to love that I don't.
Okay. No, I've never been a big Trekkie either. But it's been a while since we've heard anything Star Trek related. So
yeah, I think the last big Star Trek related thing, the last successful-ish thing, was a VR game, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, we shall see. Last Case of Benedict Fox is definitely coming next year.
Yes.
Looks good.
What of that?
Yeah. Transformers Reactivate. Yeah.
I am actually looking forward to that.
I know you do.
Let's hope it's good.
Chen, you and Chen, you both talked about it very passionately, man. So
yeah,
I hope it's good.
It's one of them franchises though where they've never really done very well with them in the past when they've made games. So I'm not holding my breath. But fingers crossed they produce something good.
Yeah. And then Warhammer Dark Tide is gonna come.
Eventually.
Eventually. So that's the games confirmed. For next year. And like I said, I think 23 has the potential to go down in history. Are there any games you expect to come out next year? Because I do have one. I want to put up for debate. Dragon Age, the new one. EA has not released much since Battlefield. And it's not gonna be... FIFA is gonna be difficult for them next year because they lost the license. They, of course, will bring out the other sport games like Madden and stuff, but outside of Jedi Survivor, what else do they have cooking? We're not gonna see a new Battlefield game next year.
Nope.
No way. So I feel like they kind of need something, and Anthem from BioWare has been a while. It's been a while since Anthem. So, yeah.
I think Dragon Age could come out, yeah. I think you're right.
I feel like that's something. Do you have something?
Not from no. I think the generic sports games. I think you're right in Dragon Age. I think that could come out. No, I think that's pretty much it. To be fair, I think they're going to have a relatively and to be fair with EA, outside the released Need for Speed this year. Maybe Joseph Fares' next game.
Oh,
everyone keeps forgetting that's an EA game.
Yeah.
It's an EA
By the way,
original.
for people who don't know who that is, that's the maker of It Takes Two.
Yes, and I hope we'll see it next year.
Yeah.
We know he's been in development with it. We know he's been getting his team getting awfully creative with it. But both of his games have been very creative. You could see we recently played the previous one, A Way Out, on the charity stream as well, and you could see the kind of the early ideas of having this cooperative experience, a split screen, either local or online co-op game where you kind of play. You can see both sides on the screen at the same time, and you can choose the character that you want to play as. And having this interactive story where you both kind of you need each other in order to complete the game. And you could see the improvements that they had from A Way Out to It Takes Two was like leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And I'm so hyped as to what he can possibly create next. So fingers crossed, maybe see Joseph Fares' next game next year. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
No.
I don't think so.
we will. I don't think we'll even see. I don't even think we'll see. I've forgotten the name of it now. I don't even think we'll see Elite version 3 or anything like that. I just don't think we'll see it. Of course, we're getting the DualSense Edge, which is another story entirely. But I don't even see that doing well. I think pricing and battery life on that one's
the battery life on that one is definitely. I'm not sure. I would be surprised if we do not see at least slim versions of the consoles next year, and for two reasons actually. I feel like why did we get slim versions in the past? It's definitely not because they look nicer. The reason is that after 2 years, after 3-4 years, the die manufacturer, so the chip manufacturers, can actually reduce the size of the chip by at least half. So it makes simply sense to build in smaller dies. And when does it even make more sense? After a couple of years, if you have a chip shortage, if you have like logistic problems and so on, and that's what we are still going through. We are still having like semiconductor issues. We are still having supply chain issues, and that's definitely the reason why it makes sense to get like slim versions of consoles. So I expect a PS5 and an Xbox to have one. And about the Elite, well, I have my thoughts on that, but I definitely want to hear Rand's thoughts as well. So we will talk about the Elite controller next week as well. In-person events. E3 is gonna be in person next year again.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Gamescom, of course. A little closer to us here. So. Are you planning on participating on any of those events?
Yeah, hopefully we'll see how things go. Definitely look to do Gamescom at the tail end of the year. E3 is still up in the air. E3 really depends because I'm already away at the beginning of March, so we yes, it's a 2-month gap, but it's also like an expensive
thing. Yeah.
And then followed by Gamescom, which would be like June, July, August. So it'd be like 2-month space.
Yeah.
A very expensive 3-block window. So I don't know. Maybe it's Gamescom. Maybe it's not E3 this year. Maybe it's E3 next year as kind of the big away. But Yeah, probably Gamescom, I would imagine, this year for me. Maybe it's an XO if there's an XO somewhere in Europe.
Oh yeah,
I might go to that.
There, I'd be up for that as well. So yeah, I fully plan to go to Gamescom next year. I don't see myself flying to E3. Like you said, that's just too expensive.
Yeah.
If Microsoft wants to shoot me an invite or something, I'd be happy to go there. But obviously, that's not gonna happen. Way too small.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I fully intend to go to Gamescom next year. I cannot wait to meet some of the people from the community in person. So yeah, really looking forward to that. But I also feel like E3 is gonna be big this time. We know that all the US located creators are going to go there. Like yeah, everyone we just talk to on a daily basis, so that's gonna be a massive event for that alone. Yeah, so 23, man. Final thoughts on 23. What do you think? How is it gonna be?
Oh God, 23 is going to be one of the busiest years. Of course, we'll see the tail end of this ongoing ABK saga.
Yeah.
Thank God. We'll see an absolute mountain of games. I think once this ABK saga is done with, we'll have kind of normal service resume from both Sony and Xbox in terms of talking to people properly. I think specifically tail end of this year, I think it's been curtailed and kind of they've both been rather silent because of what's been going on. And it's to be fair, I think it's only the gamers that have kind of missed out on some more fun and some games or some announcements because of that. I think both of them really need to kind of do better with that, to be honest. Certainly need to do better by the consumers. I think next year is going to be an absolute blowout. It's going to be. I think it's right in what a lot of people say, and it's probably going to be one of the best games for times for video gaming in the history of gaming. To be fair, I think there's just that many things coming out next year that it can't not be.
True, so true. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to add to this. I absolutely agree. It's gonna be massive. We're gonna be busy the entire year. We will have to make a lot of hard choices which games to actually play and which ones to simply skip or play later. But the problem is, I don't think that 24 is gonna be any better. So, yeah, we will make decisions. All of us will make decisions which games to skip and which ones to go through. But yeah, that's a good choice to have because, yeah, we're spoiled in 23. We are absolutely spoiled, man. Yeah. We are almost 2.5 hours into the show, but before we let everyone out of here, I definitely want to get to some of the community questions of the week. So. If that's okay, I think we will move to the community questions right now. Okay. Ooh, you're so good. Every day I hear the words all from you. All right. The community questions, man. We actually touched on a couple of them already. So. We had Portal Player and Harry Go Lucky from Gamers Watch. Harry from Gamers Watch wrote in, and they basically asked the same question. Do you think that Redfall, Forza, or Starfield will get delayed? How much of a delay? Harry asks, which one do we think is going to get delayed? I think we already touched upon that. I just wanted to shout them out that we did not forget your community questions, but I think we covered it already. So let's get to Jonathan Smith. He says, hey guys, do you think if Microsoft acquired Netflix, they could venture back into the TV movie business in-house? Thanks and Happy New Year.
No.
I don't think that Microsoft is going to acquire Netflix. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely. It's not really an avenue that's the Microsoft or
yeah,
Xbox getting into. To be honest, yes, they've got, or at least attempting to get into gaming, but they're not anywhere close to being thinking of the same things. Like Netflix are just creating these like little mobile experiences and things like that.
yeah.
Like not big things. Not anything the gaming space needs to be.
No. Netflix
Worried
wouldn't
about.
be about gaming. It would be, of course, about
Yeah,
streaming. But the thing is, the streaming market is kind of saturated and it's kind of
yeah.
crowded. And
There's not the returns are so much more volatile for movies over it is games. With
yeah,
games, you can pretty much make your money back over time. With films, if that film is dead on arrival, like
it's
we've
dead.
seen with one of
Yeah,
them very recently, they spend like 200 million on a film, and they need at minimum 200 million in return to get
yeah,
to break even. Then it's otherwise it's dead, and that is that it's just a loss. There
yeah.
is no way of making money back from that because it relies so heavily, like outside of
On that
streaming
initial
services, and you
reception
need,
and yeah, everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
relies so
agree.
heavily on critical reception. Whereas video games, people can always have an interpretation. Do I love this? Do I enjoy this? You have your own experiences with those games. With a film, everybody's got the same experience.
Yeah,
You don't have your own choices. You don't have your own abilities. You
yeah.
can't change the outcome. You can't change the characters or what happens in the game. Like everybody views the same thing, and if nobody likes it, then nobody likes it, and then it just whoop.
Yeah.
And unlike Metacritic in the video game world, where it is pretty much on par. Like with Rotten Tomatoes, as we've seen, critics and users are very much usually on the same wavelength, but the user scores are pretty quick straight after release. Like Rotten Tomatoes, if a series is bad, the users will let you know it's bad. Like it's not like Metacritic where you'll get tons of fake accounts going, Xbox game it's trash, or PlayStation game it's trash, 0 score. Rotten Tomatoes literally just a load of film buffs that go on there and just like
Yeah.
immediately say, this is a terrible film, do not watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So no,
agree.
it's far too volatile for Xbox, or even
Yeah.
for, and this is why Xbox and Sony are outsourcing that stuff. Like even Sony having their own film studios are outsourcing their own IPs for other people to create because even they don't want to use that. Like yes, they did Uncharted, but did Uncharted critically do well? No.
Mm-mm.
So what's the best
True.
option? Amazon, HBO, Netflix. The
Yeah.
reason why is they are not afraid to splash the cash and create something new and do something awesome. And we've seen the likes of look at like Cyberpunk Edge Runners and things
Yeah.
like that, and Arcane, like just how well they've done, or
Yeah.
Witcher the TV series and how well
Yeah.
that's done.
Yeah, true.
So you put it in the right hands with the right people team who know what to do with it, and you don't try and mollycoddle it internally. That's the best option for you. Just get it to the right people at the right studios, and we'll
And
all be
then
good. We've seen, I think, is it Amazon that's doing Gears of War? Is it Netflix? Netflix is doing Gears of War.
Netflix is doing Gears of War. Amazon is doing something else. Not Tomb Raider.
Yeah, was it not? It was not Skyrim. Was it not
Dragon Age. I think they're doing Dragon Age.
Who's doing? I'm sure someone's doing like an Elder Scrolls series or something
Amazon
like
is
that.
doing Fallout, right? Thanos.
Yes, that's right. Fallout.
That's Fallout.
Yes.
Yeah. So man, the way I see it, look, if Microsoft would invest, how much is Netflix? 25 billion, 30 billion, something along that lines. If you invest that kind of money, you're trying to grow a certain market. That's what they do with gaming. When they acquire ABK, that's not about console. That's about them growing in the mobile space. Because they see that, okay, mobile is going to grow over the next, like, I don't know, 10 years. It's going to continue to grow. So they want to get their foot in and they want to grow with the market. They want to make the market bigger. They want to be a disruptive force in that market with Game Pass. So they see a potential for a business to grow. Now, do they see the same thing in the TV streaming market? We have like Disney Plus, we have Amazon, we have Hulu, we have HBO, we have Paramount Plus, we have, you name it, yeah? We have dozens of different streaming providers. And the overall market is not growing. It's more or less saturated. We are seeing that Disney didn't see the growth. Netflix is having less subscribers. Amazon also not growing in the streaming space. It's more or less a saturated market. It's still a lucrative market. Netflix is doing well. Amazon Prime doing well. Disney Plus doing well. But the growth is not what an investor would want. And that's what Microsoft would be. They would be an investor. They would invest in Netflix. So that's just the way I see it, or why I don't think Netflix is going to happen. But good question, Jonathan. Thank you for that. Waller Weasel was it. He says, what's your best Christmas-related gaming story?
I don't have any.
Oh,
strangely enough, I don't have any. Not one that comes to mind. I don't really have a Christmas-related gaming story, to be fair. So it sounds weird, but I don't. We haven't been the ones that have received a console for Christmas or anything. Like every time I've bought a console, I've bought them myself.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's kind of sad, man. Listen, I do have a story. It was how many years? 30 years ago. Just wanted to remove the porn from the chat.
Yeah, sorry everybody. No porn for you today.
No porn here today. Yeah. It was 30 years ago or so when the year Zelda: A Link to the Past came out. Yeah, and it was we were celebrating Christmas at my grandma's, and we had to sleep there because it was like a long drive home at night. And for everyone here in Germany, we do gifts on Christmas Eve. So at the evening of 24th, that's when you get your gifts here in Germany. I know in the US, for instance, they do it in the morning on 25th. I don't know in the UK. When do you get your gifts?
We do Christmas morning.
Christmas morning. Yeah. So for us, it's evening. On 24th, where you get your gifts. And we were at my grandma's having dinner, and then everyone got their gifts, and I got Zelda: A Link to the Past. And you know, at the time, games, when you opened them, they had these little booklets in there, and there was like a gigantic map in there, and in the booklet it was described what do the potions do, what kind of enemy types do you have, stuff like that. Yeah. And my brother was still a little too young to be able to read. Yeah, so he's 3 years younger. So we were sitting there at grandma's the entire night, like studying the map. And I was reading like the manual, everything I was reading to him. And we had such a blast without actually playing the game. Because the next morning when we drove home, that's of course when we then actually were able to play the game, and we were so super tired. But the fun thing was really like staying up with my brother in bed. We were sleeping in grandma's bed, and I was reading to him everything, the entire booklet, like I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't know. It was just an awesome time. So yeah, gaming as a child is magical, man. Especially during Christmas. So, last question of the day comes in from Jacob Novik, who's also in the chat, by the way. He asks actually a 2-parted question. How will this generation end in terms of exclusive games, sales-wise, and more? And is there a world where Xbox Series X and S outsells the PS5 in total?
Is there a world where what?
Where Xbox Series X and S outsells the PS5 in total at the end of the generation?
I think there's a slim possibility that they can outsell in total. Yeah, I don't see why not. What do you think?
The way how Xbox is handling marketing and everything and localization, I don't think so. I think it will be significantly closer than it was last gen. But is it that they will really like outsell PlayStation on a global scale? In certain markets, for sure. I could see them outselling PlayStation in the US. But on a global scale, the way how they are simply not marketing anything Xbox related at all, how poor their localization is, and so on. Even if they fix that from tomorrow on, it's gonna be tough because those kind of things take years until you gain the mind share of like the casuals and general public and media sites and so on. So I'm not sure, but I think it will be significantly closer. In terms of the exclusive, dude, because it was the first part of the question, how will the generation end in terms of exclusives and games? I think that will be like, we will have forgotten the first 2 years that have been like really not good for Xbox. Like, seriously, they started this generation without having any games for the first 8-9 months. Then they had like 3 months where they released 4 games, and then another 15-16 months of nothing. That's the generation so far for Xbox. Yeah. But I think we will have forgotten all of that, and by that time they will hopefully have found their rhythm, their cadence, where they bring out games on a regular basis. So I think that will look good. I think that Sony is going to continue to have like a great generation in terms of exclusives. I don't see a reason why they would stop or end up some different way than they did in the PS4 generation in terms of their exclusives. By the end of the gen, we will look back at some really cool experiences that they have delivered. So yeah, what do you think, Dutch?
Oh yeah, I think specifically this year, next year, I think we've mentioned it before as well. This and next year, I think Xbox are going to be nailed on to release some awesome exclusives. I think it's maybe 25, 26 where we hope the consistency keeps up, but 23, 24, I think is going to be bang on. I think personally, the only thing I'm hoping now is that Sony give us a little bit more of a roadmap as to how their next 2 years pan out. And I think other than that, we should be pretty rosy.
Yeah, absolutely. In general, I would say at the end of the gen, we gamers will win because we will have had a fantastic generation. Doesn't matter on which system you play. All right, Dutch. I think that's it. That's it for today. As always, it's been an awesome show with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Let people know what they can expect from the Wandering Dutch in 23.
Yes. So obviously, big year as always. We're going to be aiming for that 2,000 sub mark for us over the next few months. Of course, we're on 1723 or something at the minute, so not too far off it. About 200 off, 230 off or something. So we aim for that 2,000 mark first of all. I
sure hope everyone who's watching here today has subscribed to your channel. If not, click in the show notes. Dutch's links are in there. Make sure to subscribe over at the Wandering Dutch channel for sure.
Thank you. But yes, of course, we will also be having our indie showcase in 2 parts next year. So of course, one will be in April, and the next one will be the tail end of summer. So it'll be 2 parts, 2 shorter shows, so about 2 hours each one, as opposed to one almost 4-hour show. So that'll be awesome. Of course, we'll have our regular podcast returning next Wednesday. We'll have the Sea of Tuesdays returning next Tuesday, and we'll have the weekend edition, of course, returning, I think, next week as well, and then it'll be return to being fortnightly. We kind of just stopped doing them for a bit at the tail end of last year because there wasn't much news. But there's a lot of TV series news to catch up on. There's going to be a lot of new TV series news to catch up on with the likes of The Last of Us and things like that coming out next year. So, and we'll have The Witcher Blood Origins to talk about. So there's going to be plenty of TV gossip to talk about. There's going to be plenty of gaming news and games that have just come out to speak about. So it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot going on, and no doubt there's going to be other random special bits in between as well.
For sure. Awesome stuff, man. Yeah, so exciting year on the Wandering Dutch channel ahead. Not just in gaming, but also on your channel. I can tell that. So yeah, man, I want to say a big thank you for hanging out here on the world of gaming this year. It's been a fantastic year for the show, for us to grow here. We have like a very, very consistent viewer base now, which is awesome considering that there are so many podcasts out there these days. So I truly want to say a big thank you to everyone who comes here each and every week, listens to the show, talks with us about gaming, hangs here out. We super appreciate that. Truly, it means so much. We are having a blast, I think, Dutch. It's okay if I speak for the both of us here. We are having a blast doing it. But seeing that all of you guys enjoy it as well, and the way how the community interacts here in the chat or on the Discord or on the other channels, it's just amazing to see. It's just, thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. And yeah, as I said earlier, 23 looks like an amazing year for gaming. And I do hope I can pull myself away enough from playing all the games to do the content here on the channel. Who am I kidding? Of course I will, because I love doing it. Of course, the world of gaming is going to aim for a lot of new guests. We already have a couple of really good ones aligned for January. So we're going to continue that. Next week, it's going to be Randall Thor. And after that, we have a couple of other really cool guests already aligned. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, I try and hope to find more time again to do the edited videos. I kind of stopped in the last couple of months to do them each and every week. I still do them from time to time, but not each and every week. Simply my job was crazy the last couple of months, my real life job. So I try to be more consistent with the edited videos again. And besides that, I sure hope that we will be able to attend some of the in-person events, gaming events like Gamescom, of course, like you mentioned, XO events, stuff like that. I cannot wait for that to hopefully finally meet some of you guys from the community in person next year. So overall, I'm super excited for 23. It's going to be awesome for gaming. It's going to be awesome with this community. And I'm really looking forward to that. So, but with that, I think I want to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope you guys enjoy the celebrations on 31st. We're going to have a party here with some friends of ours and their kids. So I do hope you will also celebrate it well. We will be back next week, Thursday, again with Randall Thor as a guest to talk about Xbox in 2022. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait for that. And other than that, I just want to say again, thank you for the support and all the super chats, and I see you guys next week, and don't forget to game on.